It is that time of year when cold and flu season is in full swing and people are looking for the best ways to protect themselves. And with so many illnesses going around, it's hard to know what you have and then how to treat it. ABC News medical contributor Dr. Patel is joining me now. Dr. Patel, always great to have you. So let's jump right into it here. So how can people actually tell the difference? Flu, cold, COVID, other illnesses, and how should they go about treating these symptoms?
And with those other illnesses, that list is long because there's a lot of viruses and bugs out there that can cause those common cold and flu symptoms. Now, the short answer is it's hard for people to tell what they have. And I don't even want to put that pressure on everyone. Now, there are some at-home tests, such as for COVID, but if you do have severe cold symptoms, you want to check in with the healthcare professional to see if you need to get tested, because sometimes there may be some information, such as treatments you can take for COVID-19 or influenza, and may give you some information about isolation. But one important context clue is to think about who around in your circle has been sick, and if you have any underlying risk factors. So what I would say is practice those preventative measures that we've been talking about all the time. Make sure you're up to date on vaccines and you're paying attention to who around you might be ill, and you're keeping yourself away from them and asking them respectfully to stay away from holiday gatherings until they feel better.
Yeah, that's the key, too, in deciding even whether to test. Is like, okay, who am I going to be around? Who might be vulnerable? That sort of thing, too. All right, so what are some ways that people can avoid getting sick and tips to protecting yourself this holiday season?
I think one of the most important things people can do when it comes to preventing getting ill, we talked about vaccinations, but also making sure that we're keeping up to date with those hygiene measures. You're washing your hands consistently. That's not only going to protect you against cold and flu, but against food poisoning and other forms of illness, which we've been talking about a lot. Wearing a mask if you have outward symptoms. I just flew home from New York and people were still wearing masks on the plane, especially those who were coughing, and I respect that. That's protecting yourself and others. But also, you want to have open conversation with everyone out there if you're feeling ill, and it's tough to stay home. I get it, but you're doing a good deed for people if you're sick.
Absolutely. I want to turn and ask you about something else here, too, because it's common for people to experience loneliness this time of year, or so-called holiday blues. What are some things that people can keep in mind or things they can do to feel better about themselves during this time?
I'm glad you're bringing this up. And, as the Surgeon General talked about last year, this is a massive epidemic we should be talking about consistently. Loneliness is that feeling people can get when they're lacking purpose, community. And it's a little different than social isolation, which some people actually prefer. But when we talk about loneliness, we're talking about emotional pain people can receive, which can activate the same parts of your brain as physical pain, which can literally cause stress, inflammation, and increase your risk of certain chronic illnesses. So one thing you want to do if you're feeling lonely is first communicate. Talk to people around you. Talk to a health professional if you need to, but also look for some senses of purpose. That can come from volunteering, community activities, starting a hobby, faith-based activities, anything like that. And people out there, reach out to someone this holiday season you may not have spoken to in a while, or someone who looks like they may just need a little bit of a holiday carol or an invitation to a gathering. That small effort could go a long way when it comes to combating loneliness this holiday season.
I love that tip of charity, giving back, too. I mean, nothing is more rewarding, and it gives you an immediate sense of community and like you're doing better for your community. So I really do appreciate that. Dr. Patel,
neuroscience agrees with you, Whit. Neuroscience agrees.
Excellent. As always, Dr. Patel, we appreciate it. Thank you.